So, hey everybody, welcome to Gab's Dojo once again. I promised to keep it within 2 weeks from the last lesson, and I think I've just about achieved that. Maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, the last lesson I had was the first of a 3-part mini-series on the mental lesson. And last week I went over pattern recognition and what kind of information that can give you and what you can do with it. So this week I'm going to go over emotional and mental composure. Now this is super important for anyone that's aiming to improve, or especially if they're looking to break into the competitive level, because without it is a bit of a hindrance to your play. And what I mean by emotional and mental composure is just basically maintaining composure and calmness in any given situation. Composure and having experienced that emotion, it comes with time. It's not something that can be easily taught, but it's something that can be learned over time. So it's important to maintain composure and calmness in a given situation. Now some people do run via, run on passion or run on excitement, and that's fine. If it works for you, it works for you. But on the flip side, you can also get angry and annoyed and salty when things don't go your way. And when you become emotive in that way, if you become too emotive on the negative side, you become less focused, and when you become less focused, you're more likely to make mistakes, and those mistakes are essentially going to end up you taking losses. And welcome Quinoa, hope you're doing well, and you haven't missed much, literally just started the intro. So going over emotional and mental composure. So I guess to begin, let's have a bit of group therapy. I'm going to put my therapist hat on, and I want you guys to list in a chat, just throw out everything that happens in a match during MK that makes you salty or makes you angry. I know fatal blows is the common one that a lot of people hate and gets angry about, so that's an example. But anything else, just throw out everything that happens during the match that makes you angry or makes you salty. T3 pokes into grab. Okay. Combos where there's literally no window to react. Interesting, okay. What Quinn says, let me note a couple of these down. So, multiple pokes into grab. No window combos. Abuse a champ's kit to win. Do you mean overpowered characters, Quinoa? Something? When my strings doesn't come out when I want to and get punished. Okay. So execution fails. I get that quite a lot. It annoys me. One move spam. Not being able to read grabs. More like the mechanics of the game that certain characters get away with unsportsmanship. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, down 2 Jades, multi-zoner. Okay, I see what you mean. Actually, let me put zoning down as well. I'll drop in fatal blows because I know that's a common one. Outside of gameplay, first match fatalities. That's a very interesting one. I'm probably going to talk about that one a bit later. Um, I know a lot of people hate breakaways, so I'm going to mention that. Next, as I said, I've met some people who spam the same move because they're safe. Handling zone is my biggest problem. And hitboxes as well. Yep, hitbox issues are definitely a problem. Breakaways can disappear. Katana's back 231 or back 142. I prefer the combo breaker from MKX over breakaways, to be honest. Yeah, quite a few people have said that. A lot of people I know actually have said that. Any kind of break system, there's always going to be positives and negatives. There's always going to be characters that benefit it more than others in every game. It's just the nature of it. So yeah, Kinwar says he doesn't mind breakaways because you can read them, and that's very true. Okay, anyway, we've got a good list there, so I'm going to post these in the chat. General summary of what has been said. What I don't like is that you have to pick a certain variation in most cases to have armor break. Yeah, true. I quit MK11 not too long ago. I had enough of Combat League Scorpions and Teabags. Okay. None of this applies to me anymore, so just threw my copy of MK11 out the window, but I'm here to support. Appreciate it, this random guy. Never not playing that game again until a broken character that I like comes out. I was going to say like Melina, right? With low profiling roles. I'm honestly getting Scarlet Skin, then I'm done trying Combat League. Actually, let me put the Combat League as well, because Combat League seems, as a whole, seems to get people mad. So, got a list of things that has been said, and I'm going to post them in the chat, and I have them grouped in a certain order. Oh, it doesn't even group them, it just... Here's me thinking it will come up in a separate list, and then it just looks like I've just spammed a whole load of nonsense. Such is the failure of Twitch chat. Anyway, what I will say is, try putting slashes. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Make it a bit more readable, because I want people to actually see it for a reason. Bear with me, guys. Leave there. Right. Let's see if this looks any better. Kind of better. Okay. So, things like multiple pokes into grabs, no window to react combos, execution fails, one move spam, not being able to read and reading grabs, zoning, and first match fatalities. I have grouped those into what I call experience hate, and things like fatal blows, breakaways, hitbox issues, and like Combat League as a whole, I've grouped into system hate. Now the reason why I grouped them like this is because System hate, those things that's in that group, those are essentially them's the rules of the game. As much as annoying as they are, as much as they are so frustrating to deal with, unless like the developer goes to decide to change it, like patch it or whatever, they are what they are, and you have no control over it. So therefore, in relation to Composure, the only things you can do about these things is essentially accept that they exist and try your best to play around them. You can't really have any kind of control over how they are used and done. When it comes to experience hates, such as pokes into grab, no reacting to combos, failing reads, execution, stuff like that, those are things you can either control yourself or things you can overcome yourself. Whether it is for more experience, whether it's via training mode, whether it's from research or watching other people play, these are things that you can choose how you allow it to affect you. You can either you can either allow it to make you angry, to make you salty, or you can find a way to do something about it and try and deal with it. Not that I'm saying it's easy, but you have the ability to do something about it compared to system stuff where you can't really do anything. So generally, in terms of Composure on an emotional side and a mental side, the key thing in order to achieve it is learning to let things go. Very hard, I know, but when things happen and you start getting annoyed and angry and raging, these things happened in the past, and when it's in the past you can't do anything about it. I'm sure you've all had experiences where you've been deeply concentrating doing something, and then you get a distraction briefly, makes you annoyed, but then once that annoyance goes past, you go back to doing it again. And you just ask yourself in those situations, how long were you angry for? 5 seconds? 10 seconds? Maybe a minute if it's like an annoying sibling, I don't know. But eventually it subsides and you go back to concentrating on what you're doing. They do a similar thing in meditation when you're about focusing on your breathing and your surroundings and silence, and then a noise distracts you. It annoys you briefly, but then you go back into it. Same thing applies in fighting games. Something happens that really annoys you. You can rage for a bit, but my general advice, rage for maybe 5 seconds maximum, and then take a deep breath, let it go, and then go again. Because it might not be the end of the match, it might just be a round that you've lost due to this random fatal blow, or you lost a match due to someone zoning all the time. But you have time to compose yourself, think about what happened, and then go again. Because if you keep on going on that emotion side, you keep fighting when you're angry and annoyed. As I mentioned before, you'll start making more mistakes, become less focused, and then unfortunately end up losing. Not Kev sounded like a calm app advert. So, what we're going to do now is I have gathered some clips of me doing a run of Combat League. Probably the most consecutive amount of matches in Combat League I've ever played since the game came out, and put together some clips with scenarios where having Composure benefited me, when my Composure failed, and sometimes how too much of something can be isn't always a good thing. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to watch some clips, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, some feedback, and I'll go through some stuff as well about how I felt, what I thought during each of those clips. So without further ado, let's kick this off with the first one. Bear in mind the first video has no audio because when I recorded it, it seemed to corrupt. So the video is fine, but there's no sound for the very first clip. And hey Dogan, welcome. You're just joining in at the meat of the lesson. Basically, I'm just going to go through some clips of my experience in Combat League and going to ask you some stuff and go through essentially how emotional and mental composure worked for me or did not work for me. So, first clip. Ignore who I'm playing. Just focus on what happens in the first clip. Now, the infamous teabag into fatality, which I know angers so many people in this community. So, out of interest, put yourself in my shoes. If that happened to you, or that has happened to you, how did that make you feel? And if it did make you angry or salty, why would that make you angry or salty? Yeah, this is Beyonce. Depends actually on the person I'm going versus. Okay, so if it wasn't anyone you know, if it was like a random combat leaguer, or you know, it will cost me some money to me because of a broken controller. Honestly, I don't get mad at fatalities, I'm just more annoyed it takes longer to wrap things up. It's also just more time to realise you failed. I think it's a lack of respect. Okay, for me, teabags never come from anyone who actually deserves to do them. So is there a level of who can deserve to do them? I'm just intrigued to know. They always come from someone who played cheaply. Ah, okay. What actually makes me burn is their assholes in their whole gameplay and teabag. Okay, so key thing seems to be teabag basically just shows a lack of respect for the opponent. And if people play like cheaply or terribly and then they win and then they end up doing that, it just feels like adding insult to injury. Okay, I can get behind that. I can see that. Generally, for those who don't know, teabags and fatalities don't affect me one bit. I know it affects a lot of people, but for me it's just whatever. So I'm always very intrigued to see people's viewpoints about that particular scenario. I honestly pray and wish they would make it so you can't fatality a friendship until the last set in Combat League. See, the thing is with that, is that when they do fatality or a friendship, what they actually are doing is giving you extra time in order for you to analyze what went wrong in that set. You get extra time to think about what you did wrong, what you did right, what your opponent's doing, what you can do to counter it. Because fatalities and friendships take a while, talking about 10 to sometimes 30 seconds. So you can always use that time to be to do something productive. Easier said than done, but it is an option. Some just have a hard time to beat you. Some people with luck because the command didn't come out or the game didn't do what I wanted, like the escape roll grab, but escape still happened. If they teabag after that, I'm proud because he couldn't win. Okay. That's a very positive way to look at it. I know they're just disrespecting me. Exactly, they are disrespecting me. But I choose to view it as, you want to disrespect me, fine, I don't care what you're doing, but I'm going to use that time for my own benefit and see if I can formulate a counterplay to the next time. And if it's the end of the set and then I do it, fine. It still allows me a reason to go back and watch the match, see what I can do wrong, if there's anything I can lab in order to improve, things like that. But I'm more than aware that I'm a very unique case when it comes to this. Not many people think that way or act in that way, for sure. And that's no indictment to anybody. I'm just kind of wired weird, I guess. But yeah, okay. Interesting responses. I don't really mind if I'm playing with somebody who's really good and actually beat me fair and square. My issue is when I do something wrong, like misinput my controller, let go of block. Which has happened. It makes me furious when people then teabag. True. It's one of the things that actually gets me annoyed the most, when I make a mistake and it costs me the game. I know, but I don't care. Lol. But another... when other people is just better than me and they do that, I'm getting mad. Okay. Yeah, it's not that their skill made them win, it's me. Yeah, get that. Right. Let me move on to the second clip. And I think it's therefore their teabag. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Right, second clip. As you can see, I'm not exactly doing pretty too well here. Fun enough, this is a Wi-Fi Scorpion, everyone's fan favorite. So let's kind of see what happens. Comeback gets ruined by a fatal blow. Now, I probably made the wrong decision of going for a grab after the flawless block forward 3. That was a mistake on my part. But fatal blows. So again, I would like to ask you. That should have cancelled him through. Yeah, alas it didn't. Serene Rage Scorpion, that triggers me itself. So again, curious to know, you guys, put yourself in my shoes. How do you feel about scenarios when you are down in life but you're coming back, looking like you're starting to do the comeback to win, and then out of the blue a fatal blow comes out and then takes you out of the match? Curious to know your thoughts and feelings. If you have any, maybe you don't. I don't mind about the fatals as long as this doesn't happen. Yeah, true. It's not the best when delay actually makes them win. Fun enough, Kinwa, in the early days of MKX, there's a tweet that I put out where basically a Liu Kang player, because of rollback, got 2 fatal blows back to back. Stuffed the first one, but was able to do it immediately afterwards, and it hit me and I died. So that was fun. I can't be mad at that because I would do that too. Okay. I feel robbed. Yeah, this particular scenario makes me sad rather than mad because I feel robbed. Burgle. Welcome, Yonsei. Hope you're well. No worries, nothing bad against you, don't worry. It's just deliberately done for the example, so that wanted to know people's viewpoints about how they feel about people getting teabagged and fatal. That's me. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. Oh, you have a vid about the delay. Okay, that's interesting. So I guess generally, if you're mounting a comeback, but people do like a last minute fatal blow, the YOLO fatal blow in order to win, most people are kind of okay with it, it seems. I know some people definitely aren't, but it seems you guys are alright with it. Which is fair enough. Okay, let's move on to the next clip after. Right, so as you can see here, pretty comfortable life lead. Seem to have a lot of control over this match at this moment in time. Let's kind of see what happens. Yep. So from having such a strong life lead, I end up essentially losing because I made one bad read, but also essentially this at the time where I almost had too much composure. This is why I said about too much of a good thing is not always great. I was always expecting him to make a big risk, high reward move like a teleport or something. So I was just basically chilling, waiting for him to make his mistake, and he didn't make a mistake. He didn't. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit tilted by the wake up death spin because I thought my string would have meted him and it didn't. But for the rest of it, I was a bit too relaxed in waiting for his opportunity to make a mistake, and then he punched before it. And yes, neutral duck. That was the bad read when the down one came, because beforehand, earlier in the match, he did down one into grab a couple of times. So when he did down one, I was expecting the grab, so that's why I neutral ducked, hit me with a fatal blow, cost me the round. Yeah, that's spear spin. Scorpius had to spam that one. Yeah, it's a weird one. I think most characters can get some form of punish. Like, it might be not a great punish, like one move for like 8% or something. Compared to Jackie, she can get a full combo punish off that death spin. So you kind of have to learn whatever your punish is. So but the katana's back too. Okay, that's good. And yeah, scorpions do like to spam that. So curious. Would that kind of clip make you annoyed, make you salty, make you angry? The fact that you had such control of a match and a lead and you just let it go through either your own fault or from the opponent, like doing some good stuff. Yes. Nah, because you made a read, 50-50 read, and you got still 2 rounds to go. Plus fatal blow yourself. Okay, honestly disappointed, but not surprised. A fatal blow wouldn't annoy me, but a misread into the combo would annoy me. Yep, I didn't get my down one quick enough, essentially. That's my own fault. But okay, Kinwell made a very good point in the sense that the time of when it happened, even though I lost the round, it was still 1 round. There's still potentially 2 rounds for me to go in order to turn this around. So this kind of feeds back to what I said earlier about letting things go. Even though I should have won that round, I didn't. So now I just realign my focus onto the next round, ignoring what happened beforehand. If I keep that annoyance into me, then I definitely won't be playing well in the next round, and then it won't be great. So next clip. Once this is over. Right. So you can see I've pretty much got a decent life lead at the start, and we'll see what happens. Ah, isn't that sad? Could I roll that back? Yep. So, around about here. Also, that's one thing that annoys me once you lost. It's the finishing screen. Um, until they wait until you fall over. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Did you down to his jump over here? Yes. In hindsight, I should have expected, being close to the end, that he should have jumped. He was going to jump into teleport, and I could have blocked and punished. But he'd done a couple of crossover jumps before. I thought that was his play, so I was going to do a down to anti-air to get me the win. Alas, he did what he did, and then he got the win. Now, this was a time when, yeah, I know, risky. My own bad, my own fault. But that was a time when I got hit by like the forward three initially. Sensed a little bit of panic, and then I did the jump, which was a bad decision. But yes, essentially, I had control of a round, or control of a match, and then I let it go by making some bad decisions, and he ended up stealing the game from me, and then follows up with a teabag. Not a great teabag in my opinion, but a teabag fatality. So when this kind of scenario happens, intrigued to know if that gets any you know, how would that thing make you feel if you had control of a match, things were going well, and then your opponent comes back, and then in the comeback does a teabag and fatality after. I'm understanding why some people get annoyed by my comebacks. I mean, it's not fun being on the receiving end of a comeback. It isn't. But at the end of the day, it's down to the opponent to, you know, get the job done. If they don't, that's on them. I know that if I was in a bad place, I would get pissed at both my decision, but also the other person's disrespect. Okay? I mean, not great, but it is nice that the games could all change like that. Indeed, random. I'm going to get into that because there's some other clips as well that kind of supports that. We're looking at it like this, I understand what happened and can't really blame anyone. Okay. Well, that's kind of good to hear. So when that happens, generally when I was speaking about like emotional mental composure, these bunch of clips are basically things where things go wrong in a set, and things can go wrong for whatever reason in a set. Some people will like to take the mick, or take the piss, because the fact that something went wrong for you, something went right for them, they want to gloat on their victory. You just have to try and let that things go. Let them go, learn from your mistakes, move on to the next one, and just try and improve. Okay, next clip is okay, Mr. Liu. Now, looking at the life deficit, it's not looking pretty good for me. Not me almost breaking it 42 for a pass. So let's check out what happens in this clip. I don't know if you're going to touch on this, but my main issue I think is continuing to play when I should take a break. Then I get madder and madder. I need to get better at taking breaks. So for me, because I'm weird with fighters, I can play for ages regardless. But for other games and certain things that can make me angry or salty, when I can sense it's starting to build, when I can sense that the salt mine workers inside me are about to get into overtime, that's when I usually decide to stop, like take a break, and either walk away or just chill at the menu for like 10 minutes, or if it is a fighting game, then go into like practice mode for a bit. Just do something like soothing, relaxing, to get your mind out of it. If you know that you can't get rid of your mad anger and your salt like immediately, as soon as you feel it start building, just take a quick 5-minute break. That's all you really need to get out of your system, and then go again. Don't continue to play if you know you're only going to get madder. If you do get mad after losing one match, one thing I also suggest is going to character select. Very common for tournaments as well, because the time taken for you to go back to character select, even if you're picking the exact same variation and character, the time taken to go in there, reload the maps and everything, we're talking about a good 30 seconds or so. That could be some time taken to try and get your salt out, get your anger out, and then refocus for the next match. Liu Kang's sounds irritate me greatly. It's not got the best voice. Thank you, Onroki, for the props. I only get salty when people are laggy, when it's clear they're mashing. Yep. That one is hard. It's one of those things you have to kind of adapt to when people do that. Laggy, you can't do anything about that. You can't do anything about lag. But when it comes to mashing, whenever their move is blocked, essentially it's your turn. So you just kind of have to practice enforcing your counter poke or your counter attack in a time where mashing wouldn't work for them. I mean, like for me, playing Jackie is easy because I have forward 3, and forward 3 basically is your counter poke for everything. Not every character has that, but like counter poking if you're down one to take your turn and stuff like that, it's stuff that actually does need to be practiced so that you can do it efficiently. And that'll be your way to beat mashers. Big issue for me, which I'm sure some people can also experience, because I'm playing sensible and respectful. I can't expect people to do the same, then get thoroughly disappointed when people don't. In the FGC life, you have to expect all kinds of playstyles. In some ways, you have to respect the disrespect. So expect people to continually swing or press buttons when they shouldn't. Expect people to jump all the time and stuff like that. It's when you know how to deal with those playstyles, things do get easier, but they are not easy to deal with, and they can get you very angry, which I understand that. I don't expect respect from the MK community. Yeah, I wouldn't either. MK is known online for being respectful. New spawn, so it's easy to come back with him. Right, I'm up with the chat. Back to this clip. As you can see, I made a comeback from a scenario where it wasn't in my favour. But in that comeback, I actually made numerous mistakes, which could have got me salty, could have got me flustered. But the most important thing is that I remained calm and composed each time. So, let me go back. Yeah, so from this point. No, not from this point. It's a bit earlier. Okay. Yeah, from the tech throw. first mistake there was a drop dash punch to continue the combo and to push him further into the corner. Mistake 1. Mistake 2 was that's the biggest mistake I made, because that was a game-winning combo that I dropped, because I was going to convert that standing 3 into Jackie's crush and blow dash punch, but I dropped it. Now in that scenario, even with mistakes like this, it's very important for you to stay focused on the task of winning and not to get salty if you miss an opportunity, because if you miss an opportunity, another one can come afterwards. So keep calm, keep focused. Even if you get angry about dropping a combo, continue to play and still try to win. Like so. Although that was a bad decision, that should have been death really to me. If he did like a reversal dragging kick. Let's see. About toxicity versus nice people. I have a feeling why I know about the toxicity in Combat League. I have a theory on that, which I might get into later. What's the requirement for the dash punch? It's not wholly accurate. They say the requirement for dash punch crush and blow is to hit the dash punch at max range, but it's actually measured by active frames instead, so therefore you can kind of cheese the game by doing certain combos which makes dash punches travel further in the corner, so it tricks the game to thinking you're doing it max distance, and then it works as a crush and blow in the corner combo. I was thinking you were going to convert it to a fatal blow, and you know what? I should have. Random. That's what I should have done for the win, instead of trying to be fancy. But I didn't, for whatever reason. Oh, max range KB's a BS. There is actually a clip where you will see it, funny enough. But I got lucky. Unless you dropped that, I was expecting a loss, to be honest. Yeah, I did expect. I was still planning to win, but I expected to lose after that happened. But I didn't give up in losing, because, you know, it's up to the opponent to actually make the punish, and he didn't. So, as long as you still got some life left, you can always come back for the win. And that's an importance of being composed. So I lost the video earlier where she discarded brutality. That has to be done far away, right next to the opponent. Can't you duck Frost's fatal blow? Yeah, you can. But also he had no meter, so you can always expect something out of that situation in your favour. Yep, very true. Next clip. I decided to include the whole round just to give you an idea of one key thing about fighting games is momentum. Most matches come down to momentum. Whoever has the momentum usually is the one that goes to win, but if you can do something to swing the momentum in your favour, that's how things can change. So So, actually, let me see the chat quick. I lost Antonio's mashing. He's mashing after it's my turn. What do I do, to be honest? That's Jackie, of course, because Jackie first turn win. If he's doing like down one into a move, you kind of have to practice that after you block the down one to immediately go into forward three, and that will give you a full combo every time. Because no matter what I think any of the characters he plays, they're negative enough where there's nothing that forward three can't beat. In that scenario, so it's all basically about practicing how quickly you can do forward three after blocking like a poke and stuff like that. And if you do that enough times, you will stop him from mashing. The burglary. You robbed him. Oh, forward three is trying forward one. Forward one is a little bit too slow, so go with forward three. Yes, pretty much. So he had all their momentum in that early round, like at the start of the round. If I go back a bit, and at this point, that down two enabled me to stop the bleeding, so as in stop his momentum, and then kind of reset everything back to neutral again. And then if he did something that I can take the initiative, that's when the momentum could swing in my favour. And guessed the wake up was coming, so I read that and then flipped him close to the corner. That was unfortunate, but because he was kind of risky, I just made some big reads and then it worked. And that's the dash punch crushing blow, as I mentioned. Requirement says max distance, but if you do it in a certain way in the corner, it tricks the game thinking that you've travelled max distance, so it works in the corner. And then the fatal blow there, which is a hard read because most Kung Laos do down 3 into down 3 for whatever reason. Like, everyone does that, so yeah, hard read, that seemed to work. Kung Lao's spam jump and teleport equals death. Yeah, they're not easy to deal with, but once you kind of get a read in their pattern, they do become a bit easier because they're playing very unsafe. I just flawless a Lu, congratulations. I need to read Katana's bum crushing blow because it doesn't work the same way as Jackie's dash punch does. Ah, yeah, the booty one, right? Yeah, that's I don't know if there's any tricks you can do with that to make it work in shorter distance. There might be. But yeah. Ah, you can't, sadly. Has to be far plus. Oh, far plus and a punish. Wow. That sucks. Right. Next clip. Similar about momentum, but also going to be that when it comes to close scenarios, when you are close to death, stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, because usually when people are close to death, that's when anxiety starts kicking in, that's when, you know, palms getting sweaty, and then you're going to do whatever you want to do to try and get that win, throw out as many moves as you can. But sometimes you just need to relax, chill, and then wait for your opportunity. Like so. So I was basically literally on death's door in that round, which would have lost me the match, funny enough, but just took my time because I felt that he was going to make a mistake, and he did, going for that dive kick, and then that gave me the opportunity to win. And that's because I just basically stayed relaxed and waited for my opportunity. That's all there is to it. Because even when you are down to like 1 HP, that's still 1 HP. They still have to get you like another hit. And you've even got the chip avoid and last breath in, so you still got ways to stay alive and make the most of your opportunity. So that's why you should never give up as well. You should I know some people can see a match not go their way and then they immediately end up quitting because they don't see a way out. But when you do comebacks like that, or you can see comebacks like that, and I'm sure people have done it in the past, you can, you can find a way to win. As long as you got 1 HP left, there's still a way to win. Not saying it'll be easy, but there's still a way. Calling 999 here out here, Robbie. It's not my fault that they make mistakes and then I get the win. Not the Kung Lao trying to get brutality. Maybe. Right, next clip. What have we got? Okay, so this is an example where my emotional and mental composure failed me due to mistakes I made. So, I'll watch and then I'll explain what happened and what I felt. This character, man. But yep, that wasn't great. So, let me go back and then I can explain what happened. So, at that point, got to punish, and that was going for the KB, dash punch KB, and I dropped it because did it a bit too early. So when that happened, I was like, okay, never mind, I dropped it. I'm still in control, still got opportunity. So then I went to do instant air grenade to get the puddle on the ground to do damage every time. Messed that up, so now I'm in the corner. Okay, a little bit annoyed, but never mind. It is what it is. That string into hair whip completely missed me. That's a whiff punish opportunity, and I didn't take it. So when those three happens, back to back to back, it definitely triggered me. I'm not gonna lie. Let's not talk about Sindel. Ampere grab does too much. Sindel's trash. She loses to Jackie. Yep. You know what? I imagine she does, but this character just pisses me off. I'm just gonna call it like it is. Everyone has got like a hated character in the game, regardless of how well they do in a match. For some reason, this character just annoys the hell out of me. And every time I play against it, I just underperform. I don't know why. I just do. Just the one. Yes, subspace. Just the one for me. It's usually every fighting game I play. There's always one hated character. There's some characters I dislike here and there, but there's always one that I just cannot stand. And at this moment, Sindel for me is just like top of that list, 3. So anyway, missed the whiff punish there. Don't know why I did that, but I did it anyway. Now killer for me was this one here. So he did a scream. That jumping punch there was an attempt reversal dash punch, which I missed out the execution, because everyone knows pressing 2 directions on a single button is actually really hard in this game. It's actually very hard to do back forward to. Requires some top level execution. So me messing that up basically put me on tilt, because that was my opportunity to cut his momentum short and then maybe start trying to turn it around back in my favour. Alas, it wasn't meant to be, and that was the end of that chapter. I don't even hate Joker because the game is how it is. Minus pawn. I always lose to lose. Yeah, lead players. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, lose are hella annoying, but it's what it is. Now, this clip is the same, but reversed. And the reason why I say this is just watch what happens. So yeah, that was a bit weird. Syrian Rage Scorpion is fine for me. I have no issues with Syrian Rage. Rollback. By the way, Yonce, if you play against Syrian Rage, Death Spin can be punished by Jackie with either dash punch, or if you time it, you can have a 1 frame window to punish with back 2 into a full combo with grease kicks. So anyway. So yeah, with that, because he essentially dropped his combo, he decided to just quit, which might make sense to him, but to me that makes no sense at all, because as I mentioned before, like the example with the match I had with Lou, even if you lose an opportunity due to a mistake or whatever, you still shouldn't give up, you should still continue, because you might get another opportunity. I mean, for me, I was in the corner, and maybe if I punished his combo, I should have, like maybe a back 2 or something to win, but I didn't. I did a jump for whatever reason. So he was still in the match, but he decided that at that point, that because he got his combo wrong, he's, decided to leave. But as advice, definitely should never give up, even when an opportunity goes against you or doesn't go your way. Let me catch up on the chat. Baraka, even though he lost, I'm mad. That's fuck, his damage is insane. Yeah, it is, but he has issues. Back 3-4 is trash, people know the get. Back 3-4 is good, you just need to do the right conditioning. You can't just spam it all the time. You just gotta throw it every now and again. What else have we got? What is that thing that appears in Quintality is meant to be? No idea. You waiting for Jackie training with Jukes? That should be good, because Jukes is a really good player. Really good player. A player leaves a gear and a character behind, or the soul, so to speak, so the universe does its job by deleting him. Still trying to get second forward 2-2 after J2 forward 2-2. Just can't do it fast enough. I don't know what advice I can give. I don't spam back 3-4, but when I do it, I always get pokes. I guess then try and condition with the back 3-2-4 string first, because there's no gaps in that. So, and that I believe is mainly safe against most of the cast. So do that a few times to get them to respect to block the full string, and then you can throw out a back 3-4. You know what makes me mad? People who think Scarlet doesn't need buffs. Yeah, Scarlet's fine, she doesn't need buffs. I was trying that video you sent me a long time ago. Oh, I think is that the Ghost Bro tech, I think. Yeah. All it is down to practice and just speed. And those are the kind of people who don't know issues and actually have a problem playing this. Makes a back 3-2 bound jump low, or either finish the string. Yeah, if it works, it works. So, with this clip, again, when your opportunities come, and if you don't take them, you might feel salty about them, but just let them go and keep the focus. Because another opportunity might come for you to get the win. And I believe there's one more clip left to go over. Ah, yes, this one. This is where the whole narrative I've gone over is that emotional and mental composure, keeping cool and calm, collected in every situation, can help you get better decisions. But just because you're calm, just because you are cool and composed, that doesn't mean you automatically get granted good decisions. That was an awful decision by me. Well, two awful decisions by me. Despite being good, cool and calm. Yeah, I've actually heard Devorable has a very good Scarlet. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very good. How do you do that 4-2-2? I just do. You went for the third 4-2-2 plus that jump into pool. Yeah, so where I went wrong was, firstly, when you look at his health, even the most basic B&B of like starter into launcher into forward 1-2, forward 1-2, dash punch would have killed. The third hidden awful decision was locking into MK11. You're too fake as what you want to do and didn't realise they had a fatal blow. Should have convinced me earlier that Jackie is fun, to be honest. Well, she is fun. She is fun to play. So I could have just done a basic standard B&B and I would have won. For whatever reason, I decided to go for the triple 4-2 combo, which is hard to do. It is hard to do. Even with just the one, I could have just done and finished it off normally, forward 1-2 dash punch. But after I did 3, dropped it, and then even at this point, I could have ended that bit into low puddle, and that would have got me the win. Now normally, that strat there would work against most of the cast, because even if they were coming to hit me with a long reaching string, they would be going into that puddle, and then that puddle would take the last percent away, so I would win even if I get hit. But I forgot I'm playing against Jax, and I forgot his fatal blow goes like half screen, so yeah, I essentially got punished for making a bad decision, and deservedly so, because there was many things I could have done in order to win that match. I didn't do them, and alas, the rest is history. And funny enough, because of that, I was tilted to the point that there was one more match to play in that Combat League set, and I ended up losing. Well, full screen, half screen, you know, same kind of thing in this point, in this scenario. Who does everyone universally consider to be an awful character? There has to be a top 5 and bottom 5 in everything. Some will say Shao Kahn is among the worst. Some will say Scarlet is among the worst. But the truth is, those two characters still have good things about them. They still have good tools and stuff that they can use in order to compete and to win. Not against everybody, but against most people. But just by default, if you're making a list, yeah, there's always going to be a top 5 and there's always going to be a bottom 5. Jack's fatal blow goes across 2 whole screens. Okay. But anyway, that was the last clip. So, in summary, for about emotional mental composure, as I mentioned before, it's all about keeping control and composed in any given time. Those clips were a bunch of scenarios where you can lose your composure, or where you maintain it can be beneficial, or also being careful of being too composed and like too cool to the fact where you don't do anything, because that can cost you. But hopefully this lesson gives you an indication of what you can and can't control, and try not to waste too much energy on the things that you can't control, like the system hate topics that I listed before, and focus on what you can do. You know, focus on the things you can control, staying cool and calm, and try and practice that whenever you do feel like getting salty, either taking a break or letting it out for a few seconds, then a deep breath and back again, or go into character select when you lose. So that is pretty much it for the lesson. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully it was beneficial. Hopefully you took some things from it. It was helpful. Obviously any questions, always shoot me a message and then I'll do my best to answer them. Alright, I'll show you the clip as a teaser before we go. I don't think you were here first time, Yonsei, because the video kind of corrupted, so the audio didn't work. So the video works but there's no audio. But for your benefit and for Random's benefit, there you go. Alright, hope you guys enjoy Jackie getting destroyed there. It was in a match I couldn't make it, okay, fair enough. But yeah. Toxic. It's not toxic to me, so I guess it's fine. But anyway, that's going to do it for the lesson. Thanks for tuning in. hopefully it'll be the same time frame for the next lesson, like a week or two, and then that'll be the last mini lesson of this week. But yeah, hopefully there's some good advice. Well, hopefully my advice was good and helpful, and yeah, take it from going. Hopefully you go strength for strength, and yeah, shout out the people who didn't turn up, let them know that they missed a very important lesson. And yeah, take care. I'll speak to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.